day at the Gold Cup. In North Dakota, a new legacy begins as the next generation of racing dynasty takes on the World of Outlaws. It's high stakes money versus deep rooted tradition, and the battle lines are drawn. But the drama doesn't stop on the dirt. Down in Daytona for the Cup Series, it's the final lap on the regular season, with playoff dreams on the verge of being made or shattered. NASCAR just dropped a bombshell 2026 schedule that has completely shaken up the calendar, and one of the sport's most exciting young talents makes a miraculous return from a devastating injury. How will it all play out? Well, we've got our NASCAR insider Nathan Johns coming up to break down every angle. I'm Russ Fritz telling you to strap in tight because this isn't just racing. This is Switchin Grooves. Well, Nathan, welcome back from Richmond, Virginia.
It was a fun trip. Definitely a little hot. I will say that.
Yeah, it was pretty warm down there for
A little too warm for my liking. I was a little warm, and I know you and I were definitely warm, and I know the rest of our party was a little toasted.
yeah. Well,
A little sunburned.
I think the only bad experience we had was the cockroach we found in the hotel. So
Yeah, let's not go there. I'm
yeah,
still angry with the hotel. We'll go with
yeah.
that.
So not to put a damper on anything, but any of you ever go to Richmond and
Don't stay in the Red Roof on Broad
you
Street.
want to say don't stay in the Red Roof on Broad Street, but honestly, I wouldn't stay at any of them in the area because they're probably owned by the same person. So
I've
just
had good
never ever
experiences with
stay there.
Red Roof, just not that one. That was the worst one I've been to.
I haven't really heard anything bad about the local one here in my town, but
Yours I like. It has a freaking jacuzzi. I was mad that none of the other ones have that.
but yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. So
Yeah. Definitely a
we
sketchy area.
so we
We'll
actually
cover the review of the race later on, but yeah, that was the sketchiest part of the weekend was the hotel.
we actually ended up staying in Washington D.C. of all places. So and we did a little exploring there, and it was quite a trip. But so it
We
all
did a
worked
little
out.
exploring at the track.
It all worked out for the better, and I don't regret it a bit. So, anyways, we'll get into it, man. I'll tell you what, uh, it's crazy what's
Oh
going on
yeah,
right now. I mean, so I'll get started with my little spiel.
I know. I got a bombshell to drop later with the NASCAR schedule. Good grief!
uh, we have a house divided out on the West Coast in the Golden State of California. High Limit Racing is planting its flag at the legendary Silver Dollar Speedway for the 100,000 to win Gold Cup Race of Champions. This is a high stakes, high dollar spectacle designed to pull in the biggest names in the sport with the biggest money being paid. At the exact same time, 1,500 miles away in the Heartland, the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series actually rolls in North Dakota. And the headline there, it's not the purse. It's the debut of a new generation, a story of legacy, family, and the future of the tour. This isn't just a scheduling conflict. It's a live demonstration of two competing visions for sprint car racing. High Limit is all about disruption, creating these massive, can't miss crown jewel events. And the World of Outlaws is leaning into its identity as the bedrock, the institution, reinforcing its brand through their grueling championship grind, deep traditions, and powerful personal stories. The action over the past week has been perfectly set has perfectly set the stage for this pivotal weekend. So before we look ahead, we have to look back. So let's get into the race recaps. The World of Outlaws to championship duel heats up. The back and forth, blow for blow championship fight between David Gravel and Carson Macedo is the gift that keeps on giving. Just when one of them lands a haymaker, the other comes right back off the rope swinging. Last weekend, well, it was all Carson Macedo. The Jason Johnson racing driver put a clinic on in Minnesota, scoring back-to-back victories at Ogilvie Raceway and Jackson Motorplex. The sweep was a statement, a surge of momentum that put pressure squarely back on the points leader. So how did David Gravel respond? Well, by going back to a brand new track for the series and winning a thriller. On Tuesday, the Outlaws made their debut at Mississippi Thunder Speedway, and it was a barn burner. We saw 3 different leaders in the 30-lap feature. Wisconsin's own Bill Baylog led early before Logan Schuchart took the top spot. But Gravel was relentless in his big game motorsports car, snatching the lead on lap 9. It wasn't over because Michael Buddy Kofoid actually mounted a massive charge from 9th, hunting Gravel down in lap traffic on the final lap, but Gravel held on for the win. It was his 12th victory of the season, 3 more than Carson Macedo, and his 115th win at an incredible 52nd different track. That's how champions answer the bell. High Limit Racing? Well, the kid strikes again. Out west, the High Limit Racing stars were in action on August 16th at the tricky Thunderbolt Raceway in Tulare, California, and it was a familiar face in Victory Lane. 19-year-old Corey Day, the defending Gold Cup champion, reminded everyone why he's one of the best in the business, especially in his home state. Day drove from 3rd to 1st, taking the lead from Spencer Bayston on lap 13 and never looking back, securing his 10th career high-limit victory. But the box score doesn't tell the whole story. The race for the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th had huge championship implications. Spencer Bayston, in a story we'll get to in a minute, held on for a fantastic runner-up finish. Behind him, Gio Selzy passed Brad Sweet on the final lap to grab 3rd, cutting Sweet's championship lead down to a razor-thin 9 points. Every single position, every single lap matters in this fight. Over to the All-Stars, well, in Indiana doubleheader. The All-Star Circuit of Champions, under its new promotership, Rich Farmer, actually rolled into Indiana for a classic Midwestern doubleheader. On Friday, the series returned to the famed red clay of Bloomington Speedway for the Kelly Kinzer Classic, and it was a legend, the Steel City Outlaw, Tim Schaefer, who took the checkered flag, reminding everyone of his veteran prowess. The very next night, the tour headed to Paragon Speedway, and it was Parker Price Miller's turn to shine. PPM captured the victory on Saturday, capping off a competitive weekend of racing that saw winners on different winners on consecutive nights. It was a perfect showcase for a series which continues to build its new identity with a mix of established veterans and hungry up-and-comers. So now we move on to the crown jewel of the West. Well, the Gold Cup. Now all eyes turn to Chico, California. The centerpiece of the weekend is the Gold Cup Race of Champions at Silver Dollar Speedway. This is an iconic event, and with High Limit Racing bringing a $100,000 to win check to the track, the stakes are even higher than ever. The format itself is pure drama. The field is split for prelim nights on Thursday and Friday, where drivers have to earn points in every single session. Only the top 8 in points after Friday lock into Saturday's big dance. Everyone else has to fight their way through the qualifiers on Saturday, so every lap matters. But the prelude to this was the 360 sprints, and they set the stage. The action at the tight confines of Chico began with the 360 sprint car preliminary event that offered a tantalizing preview of the battles to come. California local Dylan Bloomfield delivered a masterful performance, leading flag to flag to secure his second 360 victory of the season. His dominant run served as an immediate statement from the formidable California contingent, many of whom, like Bloomfield, will drop the 410 in and go for the big money. Against all, of the high limit stars. The 360 results also highlighted several other drivers to watch. Spencer Bayston continued his remarkable career turnaround with a second place finish. Tanner Holmes came home fifth, Justin Sanders sixth, and the defending Gold Cup champion Corey Day finished seventh while driving a car owned by Willie Kane. These strong showings from drivers who will be central figures in the 410 competition actually underscore the depth of talent assembled in Chico. The California contingent, well, the defensive home turf falls to a stellar group of California-based drivers who possess invaluable experience on the unique quarter-mile bull ring. Leading the charge is 19-year-old Corey Day of Clovis, California. As a two-time and defending Gold Cup champion, Day is the undisputed favorite. His credentials extend beyond Chico. He is also the most recent high-limit racing winner, having captured his 10th career series victory on August 16th at Tulare Thunderbolt. His victory at Tulare, another classic California bull ring, demonstrated his poise and skill as he drove from third to first to take the lead on lap 13 of the 30-lap feature. So the strength of the local talent pool, however, actually extends well beyond Day. Drivers like Dylan Bloomfield, fresh off his 360 win, Justin Sanders, Shane Golobic, and Tanner Carrick are all formidable competitors at Silver Dollar. Their collective presence transforms the Gold Cup into more than just a high-paying race. It becomes a referendum on the strength of California's sprint car scene. But the high-limit invaders, well, they'll be attempting to claim the California Gold, and the full roster of high-limit racing's national stars will be on hand. Brad Sweet, the series point leader, arrives in Chico with a sense of urgency. At Tulare, he finished fourth after being passed by his closest championship rival, Gio Scelzi, on the final lap, which actually cut his point lead down to a single-handedly slim 9 points. The Gold Cup represents a crucial opportunity for Sweet to reestablish his authority. The field of invaders is deep and talented. Rico Abreu, a California native who now tours nationally, is always a threat at Chico. Brett Marks, Justin Peck, and James McFadden are among the best in the business and are all scheduled to compete in the preliminary programs. This clash between the established national touring elite and the fiercely competitive California specialists is the central conflict that will define the battle for the $100,000 to win prize. So, moving on over to the Bayston revival, well, one of the most compelling individual storylines heading into the Gold Cup is the dramatic resurgence of Spencer Bayston. His recent performance is a powerful case study in the critical importance of team chemistry and elite mechanical leadership in motorsports. The context of his season makes his recent success all the more remarkable. Bayston endured a difficult 2025 campaign that saw him part ways with the premier Jason Myers racing team following the Knoxville Nationals. Prior to last week, he had failed to record even back-to-back top 5 finishes all season. The catalyst for his turnaround? Well, it was a move to the Works Limited team and most critically, a partnership with legendary crew chief Paul Silva. The effect was immediate and profound. In his first major outing with the new team at the high-limit event at Tulare, Bayston was a force. He set the Capital Custom Trailers quick time, led the first 12 laps of the feature, and ultimately finished a strong second to Corey Day. He followed that performance by driving to a runner-up finish in the 360 sprint car opener at the Gold Cup, and in the span of a week, Bayston has gone from a driver struggling for consistency to a fixture at the front of the field, with 3 consecutive top 5 finishes. This is not merely a driver getting hot. It is a clear demonstration that a driver's talent, while essential, can only be fully realized within the right ecosystem. The variable that changed for Bayston was the introduction of an elite level crew chief, and that was Paul Silva. His reputation as one of the sport's master mechanics is being proven once again, as he seemingly unlocked the potential within Bayston, instantly transforming a struggling driver into a nightly contender for victories. But over on the Outlaw Trail, a new generation debuts. As the Outlaws actually head to North Dakota for events at River City Speedway and Red River Valley Speedway, the focus will shift from the championship battle to the story of legacy and new beginnings. Sisters Amelia and Laela Eisenschchenk are set to make their World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series debuts, a milestone event with deep significance for the tour. And if you don't know who those are Donny Schatz's nieces. The critical element of this story is their family connection. They are the nieces of the 10-time series champion and North Dakota native Donny Schatz, like I said. Further amplifying their narrative, they will be making their debuts driving for his Donny Schatz Racing team. This is not a case of rookies being thrown into the fire. The sisters have already made their World of Outlaws late model debuts earlier in the year and are regular competitors in both 410 and 305 sprint cars at local tracks, including the very venues where they will compete this weekend. Their experience at River Cities, Buffalo River, and Norman County provides them with a foundation of track familiarity as they step into the sport's biggest stage. This debut represents more than a heartwarming family story. It is a masterful piece of strategic branding for the World of Outlaws. In the current sprint car wars, where rival series are battling for headlines, fan attention, and the sport's identity, the Eisenschchenk story provides a powerful counter-narrative to the money-driven headlines generated by their competitor. While High Limit leads with a $100,000 win purse, the Outlaws are promoting a story of family, succession, and homegrown talent development. It is a narrative embodied by the sport's most iconic active driver mentoring his own family into the series he helped define. So that's what's going on in the sprint car world today. But next up, well, where are you all heading this weekend? I don't know. But where are the series heading this weekend? Well, get your calendars out. High Limit Racing, well, it's a massive West Coast swing. It all kicks off at the Gold Cup at Silver Dollar Speedway from August 21st, which is tonight, to the 23rd. Excuse me. Then they head to Douglas County Dirt Track in Oregon on Monday, the 25th, before a 3-day stand at Skagit Speedway in Washington for the Skagit Nationals, which are from August 28th to the 30th. And the World of Outlaws, well, the greatest show on dirt is in North Dakota. They'll be at River City Speedway on August 22nd, which is tomorrow, and then Red River Valley Speedway on Saturday, the 23rd. The All-Stars, well, they head to Michigan for a race at I-96 Speedway on Friday, followed by a trip to Waynesfield Raceway Park on Saturday. The following weekend, they have a 2-day show in Attica for the Attica Ambush. But my final thoughts, what does all this mean? Well, this feels like a microcosm of the entire sport right now. You have the high-dollar, high-pressure environment of the Gold Cup, a crown jewel event that actually draws some of the biggest names with a massive payday. It's exciting, it's essential for the sport, and it's High Limit's entire business model. On the other side, you have the World of Outlaws, the institution, countering with a story that money can't buy. The debut of the Eisenschchenk sisters, under the banner of their legendary uncle Donny Schatz, is a narrative about legacy, family, and the grassroots heart of racing. It's a story that builds a deep emotional connection with the fan base. But both of these things are vital for the health of sprint car racing. We need the massive events, and we need the stories that ground us in the sport's history as well as the future. The drivers to watch are clear. Gravel and Macedo are in a heavyweight title fight, and Corey Day is trying to defend his home turf and his Gold Cup crown, along with Spencer Bayston being one of the most incredible redemption arcs we've seen in years. But to me, it's a great time to be a sprint car fan. Make sure you're tuned in this weekend, because no matter which tour you're watching, history is being made. Nathan?
I'm here.
On to you, buddy.
All right. Well, we're going to start off with some sad news. This morning, there was announced that Humpy Wheeler, H.A. Wheeler, passed away. I don't remember what the age was. I forgot to write it down. But Humpy was a big promoter of the Charlotte Motor Speedway. He used to call the stuff that he did in the infield prior to the All-Star race all the stunts. I remember seeing videos of them jumping school buses, like Evel Knievel style into the infield. They'd have Army, military reenactments in the infield, all kinds of interesting stuff. I remember them used to do the burnout challenge on the front stretch at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I mean, some of the cooler things that you could have seen at the racetrack happened because of Humpy Wheeler. Um, they also promoted the they also were the ones who promoted the one hot night when it came to Charlotte getting the All Star race under the lights. So that is kind of a cool little tidbit there. Um, but yeah, it's definitely sad to see Humpy Wheeler pass away. He definitely will be missed, and hopefully, the spirit of creativity doesn't die with him because NASCAR needs a lot of that left. Um, this is a bit of a older story, but NASCAR will not ban celebrations post race, which we kind of all knew that was going to happen. It was just kind of a freak accident
Well, they
with
shouldn't.
Connor Zillage passing or falling off the car. It is kind of funny after the fact. Knowing that he's okay now, it is very funny. And some of the memes that I've seen out there are super, super savage, but they're super funny at the same time. So now that we know Connor Zillage is okay and he just broke his collarbone, he is going to be okay. He's going to make a full recovery. It was actually announced today, 2 weeks after missing, or 2 weeks after a mishap on the car, he is going to try to qualify for Daytona, which is kind of crazy, but we'll see how that goes. But my review of Richmond's weekend with Switchin Grooves, the Truck Series race was okay. Corey Heim ended up winning the race again. It really wasn't, anything unexpected. He's absolutely just dominating the Truck Series. The only reason he doesn't have a championship is because he's, in my opinion, got screwed every year. He should be in the Xfinity Series already. He should be in the Cup Series already because he's getting his, he's just absolutely just cherry picking when it comes to the Truck Series. So he won the race. The biggest highlight of the race is Matt Crafton actually hit some oil, lay down on the track, and ended up taking out his teammate, Ty Majeski, who was the leader at the time. That was really the only reason Corey Heim got the lead, and he never looked back. So it was definitely a oops moment. Definitely does not look good for the team, but at the same time, it was an accident. He hit oil. He hit oil on the inside that was being laid down, and I guess it just sent off the track. So definitely a rough go there. For the Cup Series really didn't produce that great of racing. Bubba Wallace led most of the race, and then came down pit road and actually had I believe it was the left front tire come off. And sure enough, the 19 crew was still sitting in front of him, so he whipped it right into the stall, and the 19 crew saved the day again. And I will say, the Chase Briscoe tweet this week, or X post, whatever you want to call it, was highly entertaining. Um,
Yeah, that was
I mean,
funny.
it was something along the lines of, if he had a nickel for every time he's been blasting around the track and heard, I think it was James Small come over the radio screaming about a loose wheel, he'd have two nickels, because that's now twice this year the 19 crew has saved the butts of a Toyota teammate. First it was Christopher Bell, and now it was Bubba Wallace at Richmond. Now, granted, Bubba was definitely doing great. Had it not been for that tire, he probably would have been okay. But Austin Dillon ended up going on and redeeming himself from last year's shenanigans. Um, there's a fun fact that goes with that. He led 107 laps of a 400 lap race. The last time the three car has led 107 laps was the 1998 Daytona 500. So
Ironic.
just a little bit of fun fact tidbit right there. It was kind of interesting. But prior or post the Richmond race, it was announced that Matt Crafton will be stepping down from full-time racing, and Ty Majeski will be taking over the 88 car for 2026.
Truck.
So, the 88 truck for 2026. Thank you. Sorry, I'm reading my notes wrong. This is my favorite part of the notes. The O'Reilly Auto Parts series will take over for Xfinity's. Xfinity's year will be done at the end of 2025, and
And
the
they
O'Reilly Auto Parts Series starts in 2026. Yes, I
Nathan,
will do that jingle all the time. Yes.
don't do that.
Oh, okay. I had fun singing that. That was fun.
I just give you crap, dude.
I highly enjoy this. I mean, now we don't get to hear the drivers say they were as fast as Xfinity Mobile every race. So now I'm curious if we're going to make the drivers sing the jingle after every race. That would be highly entertaining, but yet really, really cheesy and get obnoxious after a while. But it is kind of funny. Um, big shakeups when it came to the NASCAR 2026 schedule. Some of the notable changes I have for this year is after the Truck Series didn't have a single street race on their entire schedule, they now have two of them for 2026. Their first street race will be February 28th at the St. Petersburg Street Course, along with the IndyCar Series. IndyCar is starting their series or starting their season at St. Petersburg, February. I think it's actually March 2nd is that race. But the weekend starts February 27th, and the Truck Series are racing the 28th, which is kind of crazy that they're going to race with IndyCar, but yet Fox is, broadcasting IndyCar. The Truck Series is broadcasted by, or the Truck Series is broadcasted by Fox. So it is kind of a big weekend for them. Watkins Glen has been moved from its August date to now it's going to be May 8th through the 10th. Truck Series is the 8th, Xfinity is the 9th, Cup Series is the 10th. That has brought a lot of waves and a lot of criticism from fans. I'm one of those guys that was questioning why they did that. But an even bigger questionable decision on NASCAR's behalf is they moved the All-Star race from North Wilkesboro to Dover. Now,
Bad
I'm
move.
going to voice my opinions on this. Unless for some miraculous means they decide they're going to put lights up at Dover, this is about to become the dumbest All-Star race we have ever had. It's always been under the lights ever since, Humpy Wheeler did it at Charlotte. We have not had a daytime All-Star race since then. Since what, 1991? And it was the Winston back then. So we've had, the Open, but we've never had, the All-Star race held during the daytime, let alone, other than in Charlotte or other than North Carolina. I know that obviously they've run at North Wilkesboro. Honestly, and I'll get to North Wilkesboro here shortly, but honestly, I think it was a really boneheaded move on NASCAR's part because the teams always use that weekend as their fan appreciation weeks. Now they're going to have to move that to the Coke 600 weekend. And on top of that, they're going to be going from Dover down to Charlotte, trying to get these cars ready along with their fan appreciation weeks, if they do it then, just to ship them off to the 600. And if they don't, all their drivers are going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina for the fan appreciation weekends to have to fly up to Dover just to come back.
So
I
did
think
they?
it's a dumb decision on NASCAR's part, and that's where I stand on it.
So here's my question: did they actually swap weekends too for the tracks, or did they just move, bump the All Star race to the
I
weekend?
believe they moved the All Star race to Dover. Like it's the same weekend right before the Coke 600.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they moved the All Star race to the Coke 600 or All Star race to Dover. It's still the week before. Still the week before the Coke 600. I have no clue why they did that. It still baffles me that they thought that was going to be a great idea. I mean, we have all kinds of tracks in North Carolina. We have Rockingham that they could have sent the Truck Cup Series to for the All Star race. That would have made sense. Leaving it North Wilkesboro would have made sense. Sending it back to Charlotte made a lot of sense. But, here we are discussing why Dover is the All-Star race. And it still
Well,
baffles me that they did that.
next thing you know, they're going to be moving the 500 from Daytona to somewhere else.
Honestly, at that point, it's not even worth watching anymore. There's been so much chaos that it's ridiculous. But again, San Diego is going to be Father's Day weekend, which, before I forget, Watkins Glen is now Mother's Day weekend. So it is very, very frustrating that now we have Mother's Day weekend and Father's Day weekend. Father's Day weekend's out in San Diego on the Naval Base. That one's going to be kind of interesting, but I don't understand, why they're running Watkins Glen on Mother's Day weekend. That was one I won't quite understand. I probably never will understand unless there's some
NASCAR.
reason to justify it. The weather has never been great for that weekend, at least up in New York. I know we're still fighting rain normally that time of year. So if by all means, if they can get this race in without any weather, more power to them. But I don't think it's going to be a good race.
No, remember they'll run on the wet track now.
But at that
So
point, it's not even racing; it's follow the leader. I'm a very big critic of that change in the schedule. One of the more, I guess, another questionable one, which I kind of like it, but a lot of fans don't, is Chicagoland's return to the schedule. Because they can't run the street course, they're going to run Chicagoland, which, I mean, a lot of people don't like Chicagoland. I thought the racing was pretty good there. I personally like racing there when it comes to on the video games, just because, it's got so much character to it, and I kind of enjoyed it. But that is 4th of July weekend. It's only going to be the I believe it's the Xfinity or not the Xfinity, the O'Reilly series and the Cup series will be racing in Chicago, and there will be no trucks. So I am kind of curious on how the Xfinity race series is going to go, because a lot of these guys have never raced at Chicagoland in the Xfinity series. So it would be kind of nice to see that come back. One of the biggest speculations, and I guess least well kept rumors, is North Wilkesboro is going to get points weekend. The Truck Series will be racing July 17th, and July 19th will be the Cup Series race, which is really unfortunate because that's the weekend of our anniversary. So I definitely will not be at that race. And then, of course, to finish off the year next year, the championship weekend has been moved back to Homestead. So I'm kind of excited to see that one. I always thought Homestead was better than Phoenix to start with. So I am kind of excited to see them go back to their roots with, championship weekend at Homestead. I always thought that was just that much better. You got to worry about the Hurricanes, but I mean, I think it'll be a good race compared to what it has been lately. So we'll see what happens.
So I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about all this all-star race being.
The All-Star race really irks me. Um, it definitely frustrates me because there's literally nothing out there. It's a casino. That's literally all that track is a horse racing track built on with a NASCAR track built around the outside of it.
Right,
Unless they're going to make it the biggest gambling weekend they can get, there is really nothing to do out there. There's no race shops. The beach really isn't that close.
and
It's essentially there's middle of nowhere.
here's a little update that goes hand in hand with dirt track racing. They actually put the Richmond race next year on the same night as the Knoxville Nationals, so that screws Kyle Larson out of being able to run the Knoxville Nationals.
I missed that tidbit in there. I didn't catch that.
That was actually announced at the racetrack the other day.
I never noticed that. That's messed up. I didn't catch that when they announced it.
It was kind of crappy, but I mean,
that is a shady move.
I actually saw one of Kenny Wallace's videos earlier today where
he's having a freaking yard sale. I wish I was in Missouri. That was kind of cool.
He was talking about how NASCAR is looking for, I forget what he called it, but they're looking for a way to reconnect or to connect with the older crowd. Well, you should have never lost them. Just like Kenny said, you should have never lost them.
I agree with that. I mean, I think I wrote in one of the posts about Kenny's yard sale is, the stories I would hear living or just standing there BSing with Kenny. I mean, honestly, the man does connect with fans way better than a lot of people. I mean, heck, you would think the Petties would be able to connect to people. No, Kyle Petty's out here, agreeing that the next gen car is the best car we got.
This car
No,
sucks.
everybody but Kyle Petty is saying that the next gen car is miserable. You've got Dale Jr., you've got, Kenny Wallace. All these other names in
All
the
these
sport
you
are
got
bashing the next gen car.
you even
And they're
have
not wrong.
you even have more recent drivers like Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin as a current
William
driver.
Byron, even.
This car is a joke. Okay, this does not represent the race on Sunday, buy on Monday.
Not even in the slightest.
I mean, the street cars that we have don't have louvers in the hoods, for one. They don't have belly pans on the bottom. They don't even look like the cars that you can buy anymore.
Hey, don't forget it is airplane week when it comes to the next gen cars. We're gonna have another one fly through the air just like we did in January or February.
If you want to connect with the older folks, bring back the old NASCAR, or at least some of it.
Make it heavy again.
Do away with the playoffs. It sucks. It sucks. It just plain out is no good. This is not a stick and ball sport that you want it to be. It's not. It's not going to be. It's never going to be. So let's get back to grassroots of it. I was okay with the chase when they first brought the chase in when Nextel was on. I've said it 100 times. I'll say it again. That was completely fine because the people that were below 10th position didn't really stand a chance to win it anyway. So it doesn't really matter.
I mean, you have to be consistent for an entire season to win. You can't just win your way into the playoffs. Now, I know we harp on the playoffs all the time, and at this point, it's not doing any good. It's just wasting our breath. But I mean, it's very frustrating.
It is absolutely ridiculous to screw guys over that have been consistent and have the points to move on or to move into the playoffs because somebody got lucky like Austin Dillon this weekend and won a freaking race. He's going to be out in the first round or two because that team sucks. Okay,
here's a good point to make with this. William Byron just locked up the regular season championship. So he officially is, you would think, is the number 1 seed when it comes to the playoffs. No, he's the number 5 seed. Currently, the seeding, the way it sits right now, Denny Hamlin is number 1. SVG, who has won 4 road courses, is number 2. Kyle Larson, number 3. Christopher Bell, number 4. William Byron is number 5. He just locked up the regular season championship over, Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott? But yet Kyle Larson is ranked 3rd, and Chase Elliott is ranked 6th when it comes to the playoffs. And I mean, even on top of that, you've got Tyler Reddick and Alex Bowman on the verge of getting eliminated. If we get a new winner, it's going to eliminate Alex Bowman. If somebody ends up, if Chris Buescher, Ryan Preece, if either of them have a big race, Ryan Preece is on the verge of having to win his way in, so is Chris Buescher. Both of them basically need to win their way in to get into the playoffs. But if Tyler Reddick has a bad night at Daytona, he's going to get eliminated, along with Alex Bowman if we get a new winner, and one of these guys is going to move up. It's definitely going to be a wild cutoff race. I would like to think that Alex Bowman will, stay afloat and stay above Tyler Reddick, but the Toyotas definitely showed some speed when it came to Daytona in speed weeks. So it's really anybody's game. I think those two are going to survive, but it's not looking good. It's definitely going to be a wild playoff cutoff. But the fact that, we've got the regular season champion starting 5th when it comes to the playoffs really doesn't, look good for NASCAR. I mean, if you won the regular season championship, you should start, top of the points. And, first through 16 should be the ones who make it in. No, SVG, as far as I know, isn't even in the top 16 in points. I mean, that's pretty sad. And I'm looking through here while we're sitting here, just trying to understand, how this all works. Like, how in the world do we get, people like that, into the playoffs that don't really have a reason to be there?
And the other thing that really irks me about this playoff format is it is absolutely utterly ridiculous that okay, the first guy across the line at the very last race of the year is the champion. Well, how in the hell is that even right? I mean,
It's the highest of the final four. So essentially, if you place higher than the other three drivers, you win the race. Technically, you don't have to win the race. You just have to
no,
finish higher than
that's
the other four, which is really stupid.
yeah. The first they put it in perspective. The first guy across the line out of
Yeah,
the four, you don't have to win a race, but
yeah.
the first guy across the line out of the four contenders is
Well,
the
what Ross
champion.
Chastain won the race 2 years ago, and Ryan Blaney won the championship and finished second.
I mean,
So
everybody throws that in my face because I was a Harvick fan and he actually won the first championship that was this way. But it's like,
at the
okay,
same
well,
time, he was the most
see,
dominant car out of that season.
but if you look back, he would have won so many more championships if it wasn't for this bullshit format.
I mean, you're not wrong with that, but
Look at how many times going into the playoff season he was the leader, and look at how far ahead he was.
just to put this in perspective, the number 2 seed of SVG, when it came to regular season standings as of the completion of Richmond, SVG is 24th in points, but he's the number 2 seed when it comes to the playoffs. So if somebody can explain to me why the 24 seed, this is like Austin Dillon last year at Richmond, was the number 32 seed, won the race, but did not make the playoffs because he basically cheated to get in. With the fact that a number 32 seed or a number 24 seed in this case is going to make the playoffs merely because they, rattled their way through 4 races. I
Well,
mean,
and here,
he's obviously going to win at road courses. He's put everybody else to shame. But, he's 24 seed, not even remotely close to
well,
regular season points.
here's how NASCAR's doing everything ass backwards. And I say that because, okay, yes, stick and ball sports have playoffs. Okay. Well, how it works is those those teams actually play a game for points for the win. Now the NASCAR is completely backwards. You're trying to win to earn points. So it's completely opposite of what stick and ball sports do. During the game in a stick and ball sport, you try to earn points to win the game. Whereas NASCAR, you try to win the race or win the best position you can to earn points.
Yeah.
So you can get to that championship. So it's completely backwards and they're trying to change it.
Yeah.
And
And it's not working.
it's not working. They're losing fans. And if they want to reconnect with the old folks, well, you got to bring at least a little bit of the old back. You want to help fix the
They
tire
get a
issue.
points race at North Wilkesboro. That's their old school change.
You want to help fix the tire issue. Well, narrow the tires up a little more. Then what the hell they got? They got like a 18-inch contact pad and raise the horsepower in the cars. You'll definitely get some tire wear there,
I don't even
especially
I
on the short tracks.
I
If
don't
you
even
have
think the tire change is going to make the difference. If you just give more horsepower, that alone would make it so the drivers actually have to drive the cars.
I mean, if you take them from whatever the hell they have now, what 500 horsepower, you take them up to 750, 800, you're definitely
Even
going to wear
900
the
horsepower like they were before.
you're definitely going to wear the tires off of that thing. And then
Make them drive it.
It'll make it interesting then. It won't be about, okay, let's just drag it out, try to get to the stage and win the stage and get points. That's the other thing that needs to go. The stage racing is a bunch of bull. It's not about strategy anymore throughout the entire race. It's just about, okay, we can make it till the stage, let's just ride it out, blah, 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 blah. You're going to get a caution. Don't worry about it. Piss on that, man.
Well, what makes it really frustrating is just like they started in Daytona. The moment they can get 2x2, the front two will hold up the field so the entire field has to save fuel. It's all a fuel consumption thing. Just run the thing out. If you either eliminate stages or you don't advertise when the stage is. You make them do the math. It'll be around this time. It'll be around this time. Don't give them a specific time that you're going to end the stage. If you take a screenshot of the running order on whatever lap you're going to end the stage on. Let them keep running green. If they're on pit road when they, take the screenshot, then yeah, you're not on the track. You don't get your stage points. You have to be on track to get the stage points. It should be that simple. No advertising when the caution will be. You give them a range and you make them decide if you're going to be on track for the stage points or if you're going to pit to get to the end of the race. Make them guess when they're going to do it. Just to randomize it. Randomize when the caution's going to be.
There's too many points for this, points for that, points for this, points for that. Bull crap, man.
I mean, the stage racing alone needs to go. But if you're going to leave stage racing, spice it up. Don't tell them when the caution's going to be. Make them decide if you're going to play the strategy to get the stage points whenever they throw it, or if you're going to come down pit road. If you're going to try to pit during that stage, or if you're going to try to wait till after that range is over.
I say we go back to simple, which is safe, and it's also what I did when I was running a racetrack and running a series. Is it's 1 point per position. You got 1 bonus point for winning the race, and you could even give the guy that starts on the pole an extra point for actually qualifying that well. You could do something like that, but it keeps everything close. You wouldn't believe how many races I had. I had at least one race every year for 6 years that it came down to whoever finished ahead of the other one was going to win that championship.
I mean, and that's how it is nowadays anyway.
That's how the points were so tight. And that kept people coming back to the track. It keeps fans entertained and keeps them watching because they want to see it, just as much as everyone else.
Yeah. Here's my, and I know I've voiced my opinion or my, thoughts on the playoffs before, but if you're going to run a point series like that, and I know I've said this how many different times, if you're going to keep the playoffs, you go off regular season points. If you're the top 16 in points, you qualify for the championship. So do like you do before, reset with 10 races to go, and the top 16 are now eligible for the championship. But once you become mathematically ineligible for the championship, then that's when you're eliminated. Or even if you're going to do it with the 4 different rounds, 3, 3, 3, and 1. If you're going to do it that way, go the 3 races. And if you're the bottom 4 in points with regular, not by stage points, whatever. If you're the bottom 4 in points after that race, then you're eliminated. The next 4 races, the next 3 races, the next 4 will be eliminated, so on and so forth. If you're going to do it that way. But if you're mathematically eligible for the championship, I like that one better. It gives you more of a chance of who's going to make it. We might have, 8 drivers eligible for the championship. 4 of them be Hendrick and 4 of them be Joe Gibbs. And at that point, it's a battle of who is going to win the championship out of those 8 drivers. If you're mathematically eligible, within range, if say you win the race and you get that 10 points, or you're within range of, say, somebody in front of you has an issue and you can win that championship, then I say go for it. We used to advertise this as a gladiator sport, where you'd be fighting each other to capture the flag.
Not anymore.
Why don't we go back to that? That brought fans in with the 5th gen and 6th gen car. That brought fans in to want to watch it, to see gladiator style stuff where they're beating the pulp out of each other for a win. You can't even lean on each other anymore and it affect the race. You bounce off each other. It doesn't do anything to the car. It just creates chaos. It doesn't actually, slow the other driver down. It just looks like they're playing ping pong.
And
it's dumb.
Going back to the car, I mean, NASCAR wants it to be safer, the sport to be safer, but there are actually aspects of this car that are more dangerous than the old fashioned car.
I explained to somebody at Richmond that same point.
And there are some aspects that are safer. They move the driver a little more towards the center of the car. That I can appreciate that. This transmission or whatever is absolutely retarded.
I remember and there was some fans that was their very first race. And I had a lady ask me, what is the difference between this series and the other series in NASCAR? And the best way I knew how to describe it is the truck series, they look like trucks. Pretty simple. The Xfinity series, or what the Cup cars used to be good racing. Really, really, really good, entertaining racing. The Cup cars are essentially, they're sports cars that race on an oval. That's it. They're not even real stock cars anymore. They're single lug, and if you don't get the lug nut on right, it comes off.
Yeah,
you
got to pull in somebody else's pit stall.
Yeah, but I mean, she actually asked me, and she brought up a very valid point. So if the wheel doesn't go on right, how do you know it's locked on? And I said, there's that little locking pin. And he goes, well, how do you? And she goes, how do you make sure it's on correctly? I said, you really don't. You gotta, make sure you line the wheel up just right to get it on there. Well, that's the 5 lugs was more NASCAR, and you were able to police that. If you could go over with a torque wrench and it moved, it wasn't locked. It wasn't secured. This one, you create more of a hazard with it going around the track and that lug nut coming off and the wheel going up into the fence. At least you knew with 5 lug nuts if it was secured post race.
3 would still hold it on.
3 would still hold it on. You definitely feel a vibration, but it would hold it long enough for you to get around the track. These guys get a half a lap. Oh, I got a vibration to come back to pit road to put a lug nut back on.
And it
literally shortens the window by a whole 75%. You went from being able to run 5 laps with a loose wheel and be able to come back in and fix it to you get not even a half a lap before you're having issues.
The other thing about this car is it has made caution periods even freaking longer because of the way they have to tow them. They can't get back to the pit area because they can't move because they're so low to the ground and they have the
rub blocks.
So they've had to go so far as to put jacks under the car.
I saw that they have air jacks now. Like, let's make this more like IndyCar. Let's make this more like sports cars. Rather than have somebody jack it up.
Yeah, you still have to wait for the safety crew to get there and hook air up to it so it'll jack it up and you can at least drive back to the pits.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, who was it just recently? It was Ross Chastain had an issue, and rather than wait for the crew, he just used the air jacks and drove it back, which I thought was a big brain move. I mean, that's rather than wait for them to haul you back, he just hit the air jacks, picked the car up, and he drove it back. Maybe it's just me, but that deserves way more recognition than I think it got, because he literally could just drive the thing back and have them work on the car rather than wait for them and go multiple laps down.
But we are seeing 10 to 12 lap caution periods for the simplest thing that we only would have gotten 5 for,
Well, heck, the crash
15
with Chase
years ago.
Elliott, they knocked off 20 laps just for that crash. It's a 400 lap race. We spent like 15, 20 laps under caution to remove one car from the track. Everybody else made the pit road. He was the only car who couldn't drive back, and it took him 20 laps. It essentially ended the stage because of it.
I think I fell asleep in my seat there.
I think you were going to get food that time.
But yeah, it was.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, I wish I could defend it, but at the same time, it really hasn't made the sport any better. In fact, if anything, it's made it even more boring. There's been times that I call myself a NASCAR fan, and I found myself falling asleep during NASCAR races at times. Like, it's pretty bad when somebody who really, really enjoys NASCAR can't even sit down and watch the races anymore because they're a snooze fest. It's frustrating because I used to enjoy races. Now it's like, what can I do to keep myself entertained while this race goes on? I mean, 400 laps at Richmond felt like I could literally walk around the track and do all kinds of things while they're racing. I mean, heck, I went and got food for the girls while they were racing. And I think I missed part of second stage. Nothing happened in the 100 laps I was walking around, maybe 75 laps. I missed the beginning of stage 2 and most of that stage. I think I came back with like 15 to go in that stage. I didn't miss anything on track. Like, the fact that you could go to a track and miss an entire stage and not miss anything is pretty sad.
Boring.
Yes. I mean, I literally could sit there and take a nap in the stands before I miss anything.
Here's another.
The only thing that really kept me entertained was laughing at the guy who was walking around like a pirate and the other guy who walked around like a leprechaun. That was kind of entertaining. And then you had the Dale Sr. lookalike, and then you had the guy in a Speedo with the Ricky Bobby, pants, which was, ugh.
Yeah,
gives me chills thinking about that. That was the most entertainment we had for that entire race. That's why I gave it such a low score.
I wanted to slap you for sending me a picture of that guy.
Hey, it was kind of entertaining. Plus, you couldn't hear me, so it was kind of entertaining. And if I got scarred by it, you had to be scarred by it too.
I almost lost my lunch, dude.
It's pretty bad when that is the people in the stands are more entertaining than the racing on track.
Well,
I hate saying that, but it's that bad.
Let me get this in before I forget.
Okay.
Here's another aspect of this car that absolutely just sucks. And it actually sucks for the drivers and the teams and the car owners, in my opinion, because this car has this sequential shifter in it. It doesn't have the old-fashioned H pattern shifter.
Yeah.
So that means when a driver is actually spinning out, it is a lot tougher for them to get that car up into reverse or neutral or into first gear, whatever gear they need to get it in. Like if they're heading, head on into the wall, they could put it in reverse and, smash the gas and try to lessen that impact, or even keep from hitting the wall altogether because they put the car in reverse. It does take away
time, yeah.
I've seen that many times in the old days, and guys have actually saved their equipment and saved their cars and even saved their entire race by being able to do that. Now they can't. All they can do is just hit the clutch, throw it in neutral, or to kind of throw it in neutral.
They don't even have a clutch. That's the craziest part.
Yes, they do.
It's just banging through the gears.
They have to use the clutch when they leave on a start and when they start rolling.
Okay. Well then. Yeah.
But while they're rolling, they don't have to use it. They could just do like a paddle shifter
But like you were saying with the H pattern, if you're in fifth gear and you're spinning out at Daytona, you have to bang that thing forward. Fourth, third, second, first, neutral, reverse. That's 5 times you got to bang through the gears as you're sliding towards the infield. Like, who's going to have time to go fifth, fourth, third, second, first, neutral, reverse.
Yeah,
That fast. I mean, you got to be banging through those gears just to just slam it on the thing just to get it into reverse. You're better off just to spin the car in the other direction and stand on it. And even then, it's not going to save your car. You're going to slam it into the inside wall.
The only time they have to use the clutch is from a dead stop.
Yeah.
So they're not grinding the gears up. But other than that, they really don't have to use it.
But to your point with, with you spin out, you ain't going to save the car. If you're big like Talladega or Daytona, you have a chance because you've got a long ways to slide. At, Charlotte, you got Texas, Bristol, Martinsville, Dover, for example. These tracks are tiny, small tracks, short tracks, even the intermediates. You spin out, there ain't no way you're saving that thing. There's not a chance.
No, it's
you spend so much time slamming on the shifter, and I tried it at they had the Rebel Bourbon tent at Richmond, and I actually was kind of enjoying going through the gears, get up to speed. But you bring up a very valid point. If you spin out, there is no way you're getting this thing back down to a lower gear to spin the car forward or to spin the tires to get you away from the wall. There's no way. It's not physically possible to get it spun that fast. I mean, even as a non NASCAR driver, I can't even figure that out. And these guys don't save the cars anymore. They just slam into it because you can't. There's no way you're going to be able to go from fifth gear through first gear, then through neutral to reverse, just to spin the tires the opposite direction, just to go back up the first gear. You have to be slinging gears all the way through. You're going to turn into a bobblehead, just slamming the gears through, trying to get it in the right gear. And if you just keep slamming it, you're eventually just going to miss the gear you want. You got to slam it down and then make sure you're counting as you spin it back.
Well, yeah, and the gears
like they don't already have enough on their plate as it is.
And the gears are set up the same as an automatic car would be, reverse, neutral.
Yeah, exactly.
Drive.
You're better off just to put an automatic in these cars at this point. I mean, if you're going to do something stupid like single lug wheels and a sequential shifter, just give them an automatic transmission at that point. You're not doing anything for the sport. You might as well just make it automatic and make it more boring. It doesn't change anything at that point.
And I understand the upgrade to the digital dashboard, and that's cool.
That's digital camera, rear view camera. I still think that's kind of cool when you see it from the stands. But when it's that bad that you have to use that, yeah, then you're pushing boundaries.
I mean, they still have a rear view mirror, but
you can't see out of it.
No, I mean the way the trunk sits on these cars is just.
The only reason I laugh is because we went and saw the classic, the Speedway Classic cars in the building at Richmond, and I knew one of the guys there, and he let me sit in his Tony Stewart Polar Bear car. And it never occurred to me how tall I was when you sit in this thing, and he's a little shorter than me, so he sits in there, and you can see over the spoiler and whatnot. But when you sit all the way back in the seat, you're literally looking yourself in the eyes, like. These cars, they set so low back then that you could actually, you could drive them and it was semi-fun. With these cars, the digital dash and the rear view camera, it takes away from, the driving. It takes away from, watching your side mirror or looking in the mirror. I mean, I could sit there and glance up at one point when I was sitting there before I slid up, and you could see where the cars would have been around you. It was kind of cool. But with these new cars, I can't even fathom, what it's like driving these things. You're just staring straight ahead and glancing side to side. You're not actually, doing anything. Like you don't have to, you're just go through an aero block. There's nothing good that comes out of this car, driving wise. The driver's sitting there and they just turn the wheel. They don't actually do anything with these cars. There's nothing ability wise. I mean, I'm not a big Kyle Larson fan, but I'll tell you what, if we go back to a car where you actually have to drive the thing, I think Kyle Larson would have way more wins. He would literally probably be, maybe top 10 in race wins by now, easily, if we had a car where the drivers actually had to drive the car. I mean,
No.
Denny Hamlin has what? Same amount of 10. He's in top 10 in wins. If Kyle Larson is not top 10 in wins, he'd be at least the top 5. And he's definitely below Jeff Gordon and Joey Johnson. But still, the fact that, he's early in his career, he could very easily pass Jeff Gordon in wins. Very easily by the time he's done, if it was a car that the drivers actually had to drive and it wasn't, just stuck to the track and turn the wheel. If you put it in the driver's ability, I'm sure this race would be a lot more fun. And I say he's overrated on pavement. But, if they give him a car where he actually has to drive the thing rather than, just ride around the track like everybody else, I think he'd be something. And that would change my opinion on him. But these cars, they're nothing. Like, you don't have to do anything to drive them. Heck, I could probably get in one and drive them. And I had zero, manual transmission experience whatsoever. I am horrible with manuals. But at this point, I could get in and drive one because it doesn't take any skill to drive these things. It's more of an endurance thing than anything else. And heck, I can do 120 miles in a go-kart. I could probably do that in a cup car. I could probably go run the duels and be just fine. It's stupid. Anybody could drive these things almost. They put a limit on Mike Wallace because he has been in the cups. He has been in a NASCAR in 10 plus years. But yet, really, anybody could drive it probably.
Yeah, but let's bring Catherine Legg in.
Yeah, Catherine Legg has been in, sports cars before, similar experience, kind of like SVG. But at the same time, anybody could really drive these cars at this point. You could take Corey Heim, who I guess it's not a great example because he's been in the next gen car. But you could take Mike Wallace. Heck, you could put Rusty Wallace in one of these things. You could put him in there. You could put Matt frickin' Tift in the car. He hasn't driven a cup car, I think, ever. He could probably go out there and beat Catherine Legg and Cody Ware and whatnot. I mean, it's pretty bad when people who have never driven this car could probably go out there and run just as well as the guys that are out there who actually earned their way to the Cup Series. Kevin Harvick drove the next-gen car. He really wasn't that good with the next-gen car, but he was really good with the other cars because it more or less, neutralized everybody's driving abilities. The guys that were good, they don't have they can't do anything because the cars are it neutralizes their skills. And all the guys that were really bad can now run up front with the guys that would absolutely dominate them in the other cars.
Well, this car isn't about skill anymore. It's just about
about driving it. That's all it is. The driver ability is taken out of the equation.
But I think that's a discussion for next time, Nathan.
Yes. I need to thank some of my sponsors before I forget. This weekend we are debuting the Wing Champ Kart. So I need to give a shout out to Custom Racing Lubricants, Dietz Fabrication, Robinson Kart Treatments, Aaron Easler Design, Big Dog RC, and then Switchin Grooves. I have them on the car for this race. So I'm very excited to be supporting the series that I have the podcast that I co-host. I'm very excited to have them on the car for this race. So hopefully next year I'll have it on next year.
And I need to give a shout out to someone who recently repaired my Ram. Yes, I did have to pay for it there, but they got it turned around for me in a very quick time. That way I could actually take the truck to Richmond instead of using the car that you don't know if the wheels are going to fall off it or not.
And also pick up our possible new studio.
Yeah. But I do got to give a shout out to Monroeville Transmission and Clutch here in Ohio. Monroeville, Ohio, that is. If you need any kind of transmission work done to your car, Kenny is actually one of the best in the business. He's been around for God knows how long, at least 40 years, and I don't think anybody knows the transmission better than Kenny. So for anyone around my area, if you need any work done on your transmission, don't be afraid to hit up Monroeville Transmission and Clutch. You won't be disappointed. So Nathan, I think that's going to do it for this episode, bud.
Alrighty.
But Don't forget, guys. We actually bring you insane motorsports moments, professional breakdowns, race recaps, and adrenaline-packed edits every single week.
With a few of our opinions.
Whether you live for those sideways mudslinging dirt sliders or the rubber squealing paint trading speed of NASCAR, you belong right here. Hit that subscribe button so you never ever miss a finish. And until next time, keep switching those grooves. I'm Russ Fritz.
And I'm Nathan Johns.
Saying race hard.
Stay safe.
And we'll see you there. Good night,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.